Hello, welcome back to Digital Charcuterie, and Happy New Year. It's 2025, and you know what that means? We're only 26 years away from 2051. I don't know why that date is important, but there's probably a sci-fi out there set on that date, so there's something to look forward to. Welcome back to another one of our Marvel United deep dives. But before we get to that, are you looking to turn over a new leaf on this new year? Are you in a new year, new me kind of attitude? Well, maybe yesterday you saw our New Year, New Me playthrough video, and if you didn't, you can check that out in the description below. But another thing you can find in the description below is a link to this. Not to this specifically, but to Amazon, where you can get this. And what is this? What am I holding? This is We Were Wizards, the fantasy novel series that I wrote, because that's my name on it, and that's my picture on the back, and these are my words in the middle. We Were Wizards is a fantasy adventure saga that I have been writing for a long time, and I'm very, very proud of it. And you can get these both on Amazon right now. So turn over a new leaf. If you're not a fantasy fan, become one. That's your New Year's resolution. And start off not with Tolkien, not with Sanderson. They're fine. They're going to sell books. Start off with an up-and-coming person. Start off with someone who is himself starting off. But here we are looking down the barrel of another 365-day chunk. And at some point mid-chunk, we have a Fantastic Four movie on the horizon, my friends. And I think it's a toss-up between that and Superman for my most anticipated movie of the year. Those two are going to be something special. I hope. Please be good. Please be good. And in the meantime, though, while we wait for that film to come out, I don't have a Superman United to show you yet. But I do have Fantastic Four. We have reached that point in our deep dive as we go through all of Marvel United. And we're going to look at the Fantastic Four expansion and see what it brings to the table. Which table? The one we're going to cut to right now. Editing. And here we are with Fantastic Four. And remember last week when I talked about how Deadpool... Actually, I have it right here. The Deadpool box was very special because it was black. It was different from the usual gray boxes of Marvel United. Well, same deal, baby. The Fantastic Four box is blue because the Fantastic Four are blue. That, to me, is a beautiful thing. Let's take this upside down and have a peek at what's in store. When a cosmic radiation incident transformed Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm into the Fantastic Four, one of the greatest hero teams was born. Standing together through thick and thin, they will unite forces with the Cosmic Silver Surfer to fight the devious Super Skrull and stand against the mystical and technological terror of Doctor Doom. Bringing down phenomenal foes will require fantastic teamwork. Now, I don't think anybody in here is Kickstarter exclusive. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure what's in the box is what's in the box. So... and what a box this is, as we will see when we open it up. And what's it welcoming us to this time? It's welcoming us to the family. Here's our rules leaflets with everything that comes inside, all of our characters, and then some special rules like how the Doombot tokens work, because that's a new thing. How the Fantastic Four card works. I'll be honest, I don't use that very often, but it's there. And then how the Takeover Challenge works. So let's look at what's beyond that. First off are our locations. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Hey, that's on brand. And what do we have inside? We have 4 Yancey Street. There's that number again. The Baxter Building. Big important place. Latveria, a hazardous location. Very dangerous there. And Mount Wundagore. Also, not hazardous, but it has a mandatory end of turn effect, which can be dangerous. And there are our 4 locations. Underneath are 2 villain dashboards. We have one for Doctor Doom, with a beautiful villainous plot Doom track, and one for Super Skrull. And there's a lot of text on these. And usually when there's a lot of text on a villain dashboard, it makes me very happy because it means there's a lot of goodness to that villain. So we have two exceptional villains here. These are both great fights. And if we flip it over, Dr. Doom has a lot of special setup. Super Skrull does not. But there we go. Aren't those something else? That's groovy. Now we can remove this lid. And there's even more goodies inside. This right here is a plastic bag that I added just to hold all the tokens. So we've got KO tokens in there, and then all of the Doom bots. So the Doom bots look like this. They are a substitute for thugs, and you only use them when you're playing against Victor Von Doom. Because he doesn't use thugs, he uses robots that look exactly like him, because he's egotistical like that. And I'm sure in the MCU, when we have Robert Downey Doom, we're going to get the same thing, which I guess is going to be fun. I just hope his Doctor Doom has a lot of mystical stuff to him too, because that's what I want to see. So let's talk villains first. Here are the decks for... Oh, no, wait, that is not part of it. I'll talk about that in a minute. Here are the decks for Super Skrull, his villain deck, all of his threats. And Super Skrull is going to be imitating what the Fantastic Four do based on the card they play. So kind of similar to the Sentinels. And then Dr. Doom is going to be doing a lot of stuff with Doombots, and the Doombots explode, and they're difficult to beat. And he has classic, very over-the-top villainous phrases on his cards, which I love. You all fell into my trap. You must surrender, Richards. You'll rue the day you ever heard the name Victor Von Doom. Robert Downey Jr., you better talk just like that, buddy. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem. So there are the villain decks that you get inside this box. And then, surprise, just like Apocalypse, which still, I can't wrap my brain around it, they made Dr. Doom an anti-hero. So you get a hero deck for Dr. Doom as well. And it's very green, and it's still full of all these great one-liners that Doom has been known to say. And he's surprisingly an okay team player, even though he turns cards upside down by using their power. So if you have a lot of ongoing cards in the storyline, Doom's going to be messing with that. And you can differentiate those two decks because the hero deck is gray and the villain deck is like a beige color. All right, so that's what's in store there. And then on the other side, I have the heroes of the box. So we have our original Fantastic Four, Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben, as well as the Silver Surfer. And then here is the Fantastic Four card. And we'll explain how that works here. So the Fantastic Four card is double-sided. There's a card for blue and gold if you're playing team versus team. And then there's just a regular side. And you just kind of keep that off to the side if you're using a Fantastic Four character. And then you'll have cards that say teamwork. And when you play it, you perform all the actions that are on the Fantastic Four card and then add one punch token from the pool to the Fantastic Four card. So it stacks, which means the more Fantastic Four characters on your team, the more you're going to get to do every time you play a teamwork card. It makes them very powerful. Their synergy is great. I just never use this physical card. I always just kind of build a pool off to the side. The Fantastic Four card isn't just, it's not necessary for anything except to be like a physical marker to be like, put your tokens here. And I just have never done that. I always just kind of keep them off to the side. Maybe I should start using it though, because it's a nice card. And here are the cards for The Thing, my favorite member of the Fantastic Four. It's clobbering time. I love The Thing. Look at that grin. And then Human Torch, my least favorite member of the Fantastic Four. I just think he's kind of boring, but beautiful. The way this chibi Human Torch, oh my God. Look at that. That is so much fun. All right, Invisible Woman is next. And I think making her cards a lighter blue than Reed is perfect, and I don't even know why. It just feels right. I think there were some old comics where she wore a slightly lighter blue than he did. I could be wrong about that. And then there's Mr. Fantastic himself. And he is doing lots of science because that's what he does. Mr. Fantastic is a scientician, as they would say on The Simpsons. Then there's the deck for the Silver Surfer, which is so powerful it's practically broken, because that's how the Silver Surfer is. He's full of wilds, and there's a random move. I think that's the only card in his deck that's like that. There's a heroic as well. Okay, but... all right, so I lied. It's not all wilds, but that is a powerful deck and beautiful to boot. Then in here is the challenge card, which is called the Takeover Challenge. So here's how it works. You choose either the regular Takeover, which is like that, or the Brutal Takeover. And you place it on the board that side up. So if any civilian or thug tokens can't be added to a location, after you resolve the overflow effect, you take those excess tokens and you put them on the Takeover card. And if the card is full, heroes immediately lose. So the Brutal Takeover is much more difficult because look how quickly you can lose. Even this seems hard. This is already a challenge in itself. So I have never used this. I even forgot this was here until right now because I always kind of bury the challenges at the bottom. But that's a cool challenge, and that's just another great way of... just what I love about these challenges is just taking the basic rules of Marvel United and taking one aspect of it and saying, and then what if we crank this up to 11? Boom. They took the overflow aspect and cranked it up to 11. Fantastic challenge. I like that a lot. Okay, it's time to look at miniatures. Now this is exciting. What a box of miniatures we have here. And I think we're going to have to go with, even though he's my favorite character in this box, the Thing is my least favorite mini in the box. And that's only because the other ones are so much more interesting, but this is still beautiful. This is an excellent Thing. He's got his little blue trunks. He's got the big rocky eyebrows, which are essential. He's got all the bits and pieces that you would need to make him the Thing. And his pose is great.
Yeah. What do you got against me? You think I'm your least favorite mini? I hear you, and I'm real upset with you.
I'm sorry, Thing. I didn't mean to tick you off. But come on, that's great. That's a wonderful miniature. Beautiful. Okay. My next least favorite is going to be Dr. Victor Von Doom. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just billowing, beautiful cape, beautiful hood. He's got the classic villain, I'll get you next time. He's such a Saturday morning cartoon villain in that regard. And I really hope that we see some of that when we see him finally represented in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because, man, those other Fantastic Four movies have done Doom dirty. So it's time for a good old-fashioned Doom. Just a good Doom, period. It's high time we had one in live action. After Dr. Doom, I think I am going to jump to... oh, boy. They're all so good. I'm going to jump to Super Skrull. It is excellent. Excellent. I have no notes. You have the Human Torch power coming out of his feet and the Invisible Woman power coming out of his arm. So this box is our first instance of translucent white effects. So now that we know that they can do that, Season 4, Ghost, I'm looking in your direction, and he's got the Thing's power on this hand, and this hand is stretching to indicate Reed Richards too. So they managed to cram all four of the Fantastic Four powers into one mini, make it two different flavors of translucent, and just the Super Skrull goodness to boot. Fan-bloody-tastic. For the next miniature, I am going to go with Mr. Fan-bloody-tastic. And he has just a lot of cool equipment on his base, because he's always dealing with sciencey stuff. And then just the super long, stretchy limbs, which it's hard to kind of get it across here. Unless you're holding him, it's hard to feel. But he feels slightly heavier than he should be. And that's because I think they have reinforced the limbs and made them solid. So that, I don't know. I don't know the details of exactly how these molds are made, but they've done something to the limbs where they're sturdier than they should be so that they don't snap or get brittle. I'm sorry, I'm not a sculptor. I don't know how to describe it, but they are made of sterner stuff. So he's got a bit of weight to him. Not as much as the Thing, but enough that you feel him and you're like, oh, there's something different about this guy. He's built different. And that's just a great way of showcasing stretchiness in a miniature. I love it. I can't wait to put him next to Plastic Man. Next, we're going to go with the Human Torch. The Human Torch looks amazing. You can still see his face. You can still see the 4 right there on his chest. But he's wreathed in flames. He's flying. And what I love, like, there's so many things about this I love. I love that he's completely head to toe flames. I love that you can see all the details regardless of that. And I love that even though he's all fiery, his base is still blue because he's a hero. So, you know, you stand him next to Iceman, they look magnificent. And then in season 3, they did the thing with Frankie Ray Nova, where she's an anti-hero, but she's so fiery that even her base is just fire. Like, her base looks like a giant cough drop. And I think that's fun, and I appreciate that. But it is cool to see that even though the character is all blush, at the end of the day, the base is still telling us the story. The base is still saying this is a hero character. And there's something just kind of nice and crisp about that I love. So that's Human Torch. And then right after Human Torch, we're going to go, there's so many good minis in this box, my goodness. We're going to go with his sister, Invisible Woman. Very difficult miniature to pull off, and I want to know how many variants they came up with before they landed on this choice. But she looks outstanding. She's got the 4. Her hair is perfect. She's doing that pose that Invisible Woman always does with her hands stretched out. And then her leg is slowly becoming invisible, and she's creating that sort of stepping stone. Because she does those things where she puts out like force fields, and that's one of them. She's stepping on a force field. I think that's just a really neat, creative way to capture this character's powers. And you've got this big clear disc. That's just awesome. It's very close between this and Human Torch for which one I like better. But I think I picked her just because I like her more than I like Johnny. So do with that information what you will. I don't know. Maybe I do like Johnny more. And then finally, my favorite piece in the box, and I think everybody would agree with me, is the Silver Surfer. Even his base just looks beautiful. It looks like he's flying on whipped cream. And then they had the audacity to give this to us in the silver that he should be, right? They could have, because this character's silhouette is so striking and so iconic, they could have given this to us just blue and it would have gotten the point across. In fact, in, I believe, Marvel Zombies, the Silver Surfer mini is just blue plastic and green plastic. They didn't make him silver in Marvel Zombies. But something about the choice to do this, I appreciate this so much. It actually makes it look like I have a painted miniature on my table. And if I was a painter, I wouldn't touch this. This is perfect. This is exactly what I would want. No notes. In fact, probably one of my favorite miniatures in all of United. And that also includes DC Superheroes. So, outstanding. Just a breathtaking work of art. I know some people have added stuff like primer, whatever. I'm not touching him. This is exactly how I would want the Silver Surfer mini to be. So that makes me very happy. This whole box makes me happy. I love it to pieces. And that's what you get inside. So now let's put stuff away. And guess what? I have stuff that I put in here that doesn't belong in here. So what you've seen is everything that belongs. Since season 3 arrived, I have taken the liberty of adding one villain deck to this box, and that's Mole Man. He's a classic Fantastic Four villain. He's the classic Fantastic Four villain. Issue 1, baby. So I've added Mole Man to the mix, and it just frees up. It's all about freeing up space in the Kickstarter stretch goal box, because those boxes don't have a lot of space, despite how big they are. Once you sleeve things, that's it. You're overflowing. So here's his deck, full of monsters. Very difficult. I faced him once, and I got my butt kicked. And there is all the Mole Man stuff. Of course, his miniature is in the stretch goal box, which we will get to way, way down the line as we move on with this series. But I have put Mole Man in here to save myself some space. So we're going to put all these cards back now where they belong. I keep that, I think I keep that usually somewhere here. And then I can get this put on. I can now add Mole Man's Villain Dashboard, which has some special setup on it as well. And I can just add that underneath Dr. Doom and Super Skrull. He fits the theme too. Look, he's bright green. He's going to fit in fine. They'll get along. Those three will be pals. So we can put that there. We can also take our 4 locations. And I add a location to this box as well. It is this multiverse location, Monster Isle, because Mole Man has to start here. And normally this would just be sitting on top of the giant stretch goal box. And that made 0 sense to me. So I just put it with Mole Man's other stuff. So it's all together in one place. And that can go back. And there is the Fantastic Four box. So how many points is this worth? Well, not to spoil anything, but definitely more than 4. All right, the Fantastic Four expansion comes with 3 regular miniatures and 4 special miniatures. Silver Surfer, Invisible Woman, Super Skrull, and Human Torch are all super special. That means they're worth double the points. So when we put those together, 8 plus 3, 11, we're already off to a great start with miniatures points. Now, 5 of those minis are heroes. 1 is a villain, Super Skrull, and then 1, Dr. Doom, is an anti-hero. So we have a nice little spread of that to work with as well. Then there are 4 locations, which give us 2 more points, and the Takeover Challenge, which gives us 1 last beautiful point for a grand total of 24 points of worthiness. Now, if you've been keeping track, for an expansion, that is very, very high. And if you haven't been keeping track, or maybe you haven't, you've just forgotten, no worries, because next week we will be covering the X-Men Mutant Promos box, and that thing is a Goliath of a box. But we will also be recapping everything so far. So all the points every box has gotten, you will find a recap of that in our gigantic X-Men season closing episode. And you can find that right here on Digital Charcuterie next Wednesday. That's less than a week from today. We're getting January off to a great start. So anyways, that'll do it for me for right now, at least. That was the Fantastic Four. Thank you so much for tuning into this Marvel United deep dive as we sit here together and continue to make the wait for DC Superheroes United a little bit shorter and a whole lot sweeter. Happy 2025. Let Fantastic Four please be good, and I'll see you around. Ciao for now.